How many times have you felt pressure to fit into someone else's mold? To follow a path laid out by others, whether it's family, friends, or society? The truth is, life isn't about living up to someone else's expectations. It's about embracing who you truly are and having the courage to walk your own path. In today's world, the pressure to conform is everywhere. We see it in the clothes people wear, the careers they pursue, the relationships they have, and even in how they think or feel. It's not just about fitting in. It's about doing what society or certain individuals think is the right thing to do. But what happens when you feel this pressure? What happens when you begin to compromise your true values and desires just to fit in? Conformity refers to the act of changing your behavior, attitudes, or beliefs to match those of a group or society. It's a natural part of being human. After all, we are social creatures, and we want to feel connected and accepted. But when we start to conform to the expectations of others at the cost of our true selves, we begin to lose our sense of identity. One of the most subtle yet powerful sources of pressure comes from our friends. We all want to be accepted and included, but sometimes this can lead to making choices that don't align with who we really are, whether it's agreeing with opinions we don't actually share or participating in activities that don't resonate with us. The fear of being left out or labeled as different can lead us to suppress our authentic selves. Our families can also exert pressure, sometimes with the best intentions. They might have expectations about our career choices, relationships, or even how we live our lives. While they mean well, these pressures can be incredibly hard to manage, especially when they conflict with our own aspirations or values. Authority figures like teachers, mentors, or even employers often shape how we think about ourselves and our futures. Sometimes, we feel like we must live up to their standards to gain approval or avoid judgment, even if those expectations don't match our personal dreams. Society has its own set of expectations, whether it's the pressure to look a certain way, act a certain way, or achieve certain things by a certain age. The rise of social media has amplified these pressures, where people are often judged based on highlight reels of their lives. The constant comparisons can make us feel inadequate or as though we're not measuring up. At the core of most conformity is the fear of being judged or rejected. This fear is incredibly powerful because it touches on one of our deepest human needs, belonging. The idea of being rejected, whether by friends, family, or society, can feel painful. So, we often choose to hide parts of ourselves that we believe might lead to judgment or rejection. This fear drives us to act in ways that don't feel true to us. We may find ourselves making decisions based on what others might think, rather than on what we truly want. The desire for acceptance can overshadow our personal needs, and over time, this can create inner conflict. We might even start to question who we really are. When we constantly suppress our true selves to fit into others' expectations, it can lead to emotional and psychological strain. Here are a few ways this plays out. You may start to feel like you don't know who you really are. You could be caught in a cycle of pleasing others, and eventually, you might not even recognize what truly makes you happy anymore. The pressure to always meet expectations can be overwhelming. The constant worry about how others perceive you can lead to anxiety, stress, and even feelings of worthlessness if you feel like you're not living up to those expectations. When you live based on what others want rather than what you truly desire, the choices you make may no longer align with your passions or values. This can lead to a life that feels unfulfilling, as though you're going through the motions without any real sense of purpose. It's important to remember that feeling pressure to conform is a part of life, but it doesn't mean you have to give in to it. Here are a few ways to break free from the pressure to conform. Self-awareness. Recognize when you're making decisions based on others' expectations. When you catch yourself doing this, pause and ask if this choice aligns with your true desires. It takes courage to stand up for your values, even when others may not understand. Saying no can be empowering and helps you stay true to your path. Surround yourself with people who accept and support you for who you really are. Finding a community that values authenticity can make it easier to stay true to yourself. Learn to trust your gut feelings and intuition. The more you listen to your inner voice, the stronger your confidence will become in making decisions that reflect your true self. Understanding the pressure to conform is the first step in overcoming it. By recognizing where this pressure comes from and how it affects us, we can begin to make choices that align with our authentic selves. It's okay to not fit in or to disappoint others when you are staying true to who you really are. The more we embrace our individuality, the more we create space for genuine, fulfilling lives. In today's world, it's easy to get caught up in trying to live up to the expectations of others, whether it's the pressure to succeed in a certain career, look a certain way, or behave in a manner that aligns with social norms. There's often a subconscious desire to please those around us. However, living for others comes with its own set of dangers that can slowly chip away at our happiness and personal fulfillment. When you spend your life trying to meet someone else's expectations, whether it's a parent, a partner, or society at large, you are sacrificing your own happiness. Every time you compromise on your values, desires, or dreams to make someone else happy, you push your true self further into the background. Think about it. How many times have you made decisions simply because you were worried about what others might think or how they would react? Maybe you chose a career path because it was what your parents wanted for you, or perhaps you went along with a lifestyle or a choice of friends simply to avoid conflict. The reality is that these kind of compromises don't come without a cost. When you choose to live for others, you put your own desires on hold. Your passions and interests get buried under layers of other people's needs, and over time, you may start to forget what you truly want out of life. As time goes on, living for others can lead to a deep sense of emptiness. This feeling often stems from the gradual erosion of self-worth. When you live your life to satisfy others, your sense of value becomes tied to external approval. You begin to measure your success, happiness, and identity by how others perceive you rather than how you feel about yourself. The truth is, no amount of validation from others can fill the void of not living authentically. You may achieve things that make others proud, but deep down, you'll feel unfulfilled because those achievements were not aligned with your true desires. When you are constantly seeking approval from outside sources, you may forget what you want and who you truly are. When was the last time you made a decision for yourself without worrying about how others would judge it? Living this way can cause you to lose track of your own identity. It's as if you build a house, brick by brick, based on other people's needs. In the process, you've forgotten what your foundation truly looks like. Over time, you might find yourself asking, who am I really? The confusion and lack of direction that arise from this internal conflict are often the result of not having listened to your own voice for far too long. Another danger of living for others is the confusion it causes in your sense of self. When you're constantly adjusting yourself to fit into the mold that others have created for you, it becomes difficult to know who you are without their influence. You might find yourself in situations where you act one way around certain people and another way around different groups, unsure of your true personality and values. This lack of self-awareness can make it harder to make decisions that align with your authentic self. You may feel like you're floating through life, unsure which direction to take, simply because you spent so long living for others that you've lost touch with your own desires and aspirations. How much of your current life is actually yours, and how much of it is shaped by what others expect from you? Take a moment and reflect on your life. Are the choices you made truly yours, or are they shaped by the expectations of those around you? Perhaps your job, your relationship, or your lifestyle isn't something you actually want, but something you've been conditioned to believe you should want. It's important to ask yourself whether you're living a life true to your own values, or whether you've been living to meet someone else's standards. Living for others doesn't just rob you of your happiness. It also takes away the ability to experience true personal fulfillment. True fulfillment comes from knowing you've lived authentically, that you pursued your own passions, and that you've made decisions that are in alignment with your inner values. When you prioritize the desires of others over your own, you deny yourself the joy of self-expression and personal growth. As you deny your true desires, you might feel like something is missing, even though on the outside everything may look perfect. That's because you're not living for your own happiness. What's the one thing you've always wanted to do but haven't because you were too focused on what others would think? Choosing to live for others means choosing not to live for yourself. It's a cycle that can lead to chronic dissatisfaction, a lack of purpose, and a sense of living on autopilot. But by shifting the focus back to yourself, embracing your true desires, and making decisions based on your own values, you can begin to break free from the dangerous habit of living for others. The first step in this process is acknowledging the pattern. Once you recognize how much of your life has been shaped by other people's expectations, you can start the journey of reclaiming your identity. It's not about being selfish or disregarding others. It's about finding a balance between being true to yourself and nurturing your relationships with those around you. You can start small, making a choice based on your own desires instead of pleasing others, or pursuing a passion that you set aside for too long. It's about taking ownership of your life and making decisions that bring you joy and fulfillment. Living for others may seem like a path of ease in the short term, but in the long run, it leads to a loss of self, confusion, and emptiness. Remember, your life is yours to live. Don't allow external expectations to dictate your choices or define your happiness. It's time to ask yourself, are you living for others or are you living for yourself? Take the step today to live authentically and embrace who you truly are. Self-expression is the art of being completely true to who you are. It is not simply about what you say or how you look on the outside, but about fully embracing your inner self, your thoughts, emotions, values, and passions. When you allow yourself to express these parts of your identity without fear or hesitation, something incredible happens. You feel free. Imagine waking up every day knowing that you don't have to wear a mask or pretend to be someone you're not. That's the freedom of self-expression. It's the freedom to make choices based on your desires, not because of what others expect from you. When you are authentic, you stop trying to fit into other people's molds, and this releases you from the chains of comparison and insecurity. When we live in a way that aligns with our true selves, it brings peace to our minds. This peace comes from knowing that the life you're living is yours, and that it's not being dictated by external pressures. This inner peace doesn't happen overnight, but over time, as you learn to trust your own voice and stop seeking constant validation from others. Think about it for a moment. When was the last time you truly expressed yourself without hesitation? How did that make you feel? Did you feel lighter, freer? Or were you worried about what others might think? One of the most significant fears people have when considering self-expression is the fear of rejection. We worry that if we show our true selves, others will judge us, criticize us, or simply not accept us. This fear of judgment can hold us back from living authentically, but the truth is, the people who matter will accept you for who you truly are. Let's take a step back and think about it. How many people in your life are truly there because of who you are, not because of who you pretend to be? The answer may surprise you. True relationships, whether with family, friends, or even romantic partners, are based on authenticity. People are drawn to genuine energy, and when you express your real self, you attract others who can appreciate and love you for it. On the other hand, if you're constantly trying to meet the expectations of everyone around you, it can lead to unhealthy surface-level relationships where the true you is never truly known. You might gain approval, but you'll never feel the satisfaction of being loved for who you truly are. Who are the people in my life that truly accept me for me? Reflect on these relationships. What makes them special? Have they blossomed because you were authentic? Or do you feel like you're always hiding parts of yourself? What would your life look like if you no longer had to hide who you truly are? Take a moment to imagine a life where you didn't have to hide your true self. What would it feel like to wake up in the morning and live according to your own standards and not the standards set by society, your family, or even your friends? What would it feel like to step into a room without adjusting who you are just to make others comfortable? When we think about this question, it's not about being reckless or hurting others. It's about the freedom to show up fully as yourself without fear of rejection. What does it mean to you to show up in the world as your authentic self? Does it excite you or make you nervous? These are important questions to ask because they help reveal the level of authenticity you're currently allowing in your life. If you stop hiding parts of who you are, whether it's your opinions, your appearance, your interests, or your dreams, you might find that you feel more empowered, more confident, and more connected to the world around you. You no longer have to pretend, and that's incredibly liberating. When you release the burden of trying to meet external expectations, you open yourself up to possibilities. You allow your creativity, your passions, and your true ambitions to come to life. You might even find that your relationships deepen because they are now built on a foundation of realness and trust. Self-expression is not just about how you present yourself on the outside. It's about being authentically you, feeling free to live the life that aligns with your heart and soul. It's about embracing your uniqueness and knowing that the people who are meant to be in your life will love and accept you for exactly who you are. Don't let fear of judgment stop you from living your truth. The world needs more people who are brave enough to be themselves. We all have one thing in common: the fear of being judged. It's a natural human emotion, and it can shape the way we live our lives. Whether we are aware of it or not, most of us modify our actions, thoughts, and decisions based on what others might think of us. The fear of judgment can be paralyzing, causing us to stay silent in situations where we should speak up or hold back in moments when we should express ourselves fully. Whether you're living authentically or pretending to be someone you're not, people will form opinions about you. That's just part of human nature. Some may praise you, others may criticize you. It's a constant, ongoing process that happens whether you're being yourself or putting on a mask to fit in. When you're honest about who you are, the judgment may feel harsh at times, but it is based on truth. People see the real you, and that's something they can either accept or reject. If you hide who you truly are and live based on what others expect of you, the judgment becomes even more complicated. It's not about who you really are. It's about the version of yourself you created for them. This kind of judgment is often more destructive because it forces you to live a lie. No matter which path you choose, judgment will come. But choosing to live authentically allows you to stand tall, knowing that what people are judging is a real, unfiltered version of you. The key to overcoming the fear of judgment is simple. Stop letting others' opinions define you. Easier said than done, right? Too often, we tie our value to how others see us. We think that if people approve of us, we must be worth something. If they criticize us, we feel like we're less than. This creates a vicious cycle where your self-esteem is dependent on the unpredictable and often unfair judgments of others. The most empowering shift you can make is deciding that your worth comes from within. Who you are, your values, your strengths, your flaws, these are the things that define you. When you begin to accept yourself fully, regardless of what others think, you stop giving their opinions so much power over you. You might be wondering, but how do I stop caring about what others think? The answer lies in practicing self-compassion, building confidence in your own decisions, and remembering that you're not defined by anyone's fleeting judgment. Living for the approval of others can be exhausting and unfulfilling. It means constantly worrying about how you're perceived, making choices based on external validation instead of internal truth, and sacrificing your own happiness for fear of rejection. When you start making decisions based on what you think others expect of you, you risk losing yourself. Your life becomes a series of compromises, and over time, you might find that you're no longer living the life you dreamed of. You might even forget who you truly are. Even if you manage to keep up the facade, there's always a sense of emptiness that comes with pretending to be someone you're not. It's draining. Constantly playing a role is not sustainable and will eventually lead to frustration, exhaustion, or worse, regret. This may feel painful at first. The fear of judgment can sting, but it's only temporary. And at least it's based on the truth. People might not understand you, and some might even reject you. But at the end of the day, you can hold your head high, knowing you've been honest with yourself and with them, pretending to be someone you're not. On the other hand, living a life where you're constantly pretending is far more damaging. It's an internal struggle that eats away at your sense of self. The longer you pretend, the more you disconnect from your true identity. You may even end up resenting the very people you were trying to impress. The cost of pretending is not just external, it's internal too. You lose your sense of peace and become trapped in a cycle of insecurity and doubt. So, think about it. Would you rather experience temporary discomfort from being judged for who you are, or live a lifetime of inner turmoil because you're not being true to yourself? The fear of judgment is a natural part of life, but it doesn't have to control you. When you stop giving others' opinions of power to define who you are, you take back control over your life. You embrace authenticity, and in doing so, you find true freedom. Confidence, in its truest form, is not about being the loudest person in the room or being the most outgoing. It's about embracing who you are, accepting your imperfections, and standing firmly in your beliefs regardless of external opinions. Staying true to yourself isn't always easy. It takes courage, because you're choosing to walk a path that may not always be aligned with what others expect of you. Let's take a closer look at what it means to build confidence in staying true to yourself and how you can begin that journey today. Confidence is often thought of as an external display, but in reality, it starts from within. True confidence is about self-acceptance. It's about knowing that you are worthy, just as you are, with all your strengths and flaws. A key part of building confidence is understanding that your value is not tied to someone else's approval. This means recognizing that you do not need to fit into a mold or meet someone's standards to feel good about yourself. The moment you realize that your worth is inherent and not contingent on how others perceive you, that's when your confidence begins to grow. How many times have you looked to someone else for validation before making a decision? What would happen if you stopped seeking approval and just trusted yourself? When we talk about staying true to yourself, we're talking about embracing your unique qualities, the things that make you who you are, even if they seem different from what others might expect. Often, we spend so much time comparing ourselves to others or trying to fit in that we forget what makes us truly unique. Confidence grows when you recognize these qualities as strengths, not flaws. For example, if you've always been more quiet or introverted, don't try to force yourself to be loud or outspoken just to fit in. Embrace your natural way of interacting with the world and understand that it is just as valuable as any other way. What parts of yourself have you hidden away because you thought they weren't good enough by society's standards? What would happen if you started embracing them instead? One of the biggest challenges to staying true to ourselves is the fear of judgment. Many of us fear what others might think or say if we show up as our authentic selves. This fear can prevent us from expressing our true desires, thoughts, and dreams. However, the truth is, judgment is inevitable. No matter what you do, someone will always have an opinion. The key is not to let those opinions dictate your actions or your self-worth. Once you stop caring about the judgment of others, you open up the space to live authentically. This takes practice, and sometimes it means stepping outside of your comfort zone, but the rewards of true self-expression are worth it. Think about a time when you were afraid to be yourself because of what others might think. How did it feel to suppress your true self? And what would have happened if you had acted differently? Confidence comes from trusting yourself. It's about listening to your inner voice and trusting your intuition, even when the world around you may tell you otherwise. When you learn to trust yourself, you become more confident in your decisions, actions, and the way you interact with the world. This trust is built over time through small acts of courage where you choose yourself over external validation. Even when things don't go as planned or when you make mistakes, self-trust helps you bounce back with resilience. You learn that mistakes are part of the process, not a reflection of your worth. When was the last time you truly trusted yourself to make a decision without seeking approval from others first? What did that feel like? Building confidence doesn't happen overnight. It's a journey, and it starts with small, consistent steps. Every day, you have opportunities to practice being true to yourself, whether it's in your conversations, the decisions you make, or the way you express yourself. You don't need to make huge, drastic changes all at once. Even the smallest step, like voicing your opinion in a group or choosing a career path based on your passion rather than others' expectations, can build your confidence in staying true to yourself. The key is to keep taking those small steps, and over time, you will notice that your confidence grows. With each step, you affirm your own worth and your ability to make choices that align with your true self. What is one small, authentic action you can take today that aligns with who you really are, even if it feels uncomfortable or unfamiliar? Building confidence also involves surrounding yourself with people who support and encourage your authentic self. The people you surround yourself with can either lift you up or bring you down. When you are around individuals who accept you as you are, who cheer you on as you pursue your dreams, your confidence will naturally grow. These are the kinds of people who will see your uniqueness as a strength and not as something to be fixed or changed. On the other hand, distancing yourself from toxic people who try to impose their expectations on you is just as important. It's difficult to stay true to yourself if you're constantly being made to feel that who you are isn't enough. Are the people around you supporting your authentic self, or are they reinforcing the idea that you need to be someone else? How can you create more space for people who embrace you for who you truly are? Building confidence to stay true to yourself is an ongoing process, but it's a journey worth taking. It's about stepping away from the noise of other people's expectations and trusting that your unique self is enough. Each time you choose authenticity over conformity, you grow stronger in your confidence. So remember, you are worthy, you are valuable, and you are enough just as you are. The next time you feel the pressure to fit in or be someone you're not, take a deep breath and remind yourself, you are enough. Self-discovery is not a single moment of clarity, but a journey that takes time and patience. It's about uncovering who you truly are beneath all the layers of expectations, societal pressures, and past experiences. This is a process that doesn't happen overnight. It's something we work on every day. Self-discovery is about finding your values, understanding your desires, and embracing the things that make you feel alive. But it's also about facing your fears, questioning everything you've been taught, and being willing to change in order to align your life with your true self. Have you ever thought about the real you beneath the surface? What parts of yourself are you still uncovering? In many ways, the idea of self-discovery is like climbing a mountain. When you first begin to climb, the peak may feel far away, but with every step, you gain more insight and clarity about who you are. Some days, the path may feel challenging, and at times, it might even feel like you're stuck or lost. But that's a part of the journey. The ups and downs are what shape you. It's important to understand that this journey doesn't have an end. As you grow, your desires, values, and goals may evolve, and that's perfectly okay. Self-discovery is about embracing change and learning from each experience. What would it look like if you gave yourself permission to grow and change, knowing that it's part of the journey? One of the most significant aspects of self-discovery is learning to trust your intuition. Intuition is that deep feeling or knowing that comes from within. It's not always logical or easy to explain, but it's often right. The challenge is learning to listen to it, especially in a world that tries to tell you what to do and how to think. In your journey to understanding who you truly are, your instincts and intuition will guide you. They'll help you make decisions that feel aligned with your authentic self. However, trusting your intuition requires practice. It means letting go of the need for constant external validation and learning to listen to the quiet voice inside that knows what's best for you. How often do you ignore your gut feeling because of external pressures? What would happen if you started listening to that inner voice more often? As we begin the process of self-discovery, one of the biggest obstacles we face is fear. The fear of judgment, failure, and disappointing others. These fears are often rooted in past experiences or the expectations of family, friends, or society. We're taught to seek approval from others, but the truth is, no one can define who you are but you. When we are afraid of being judged, we may hesitate to express our true selves. We may hold back from pursuing dreams or making choices that feel right because we worry about what others might think. This fear is a natural part of the process, but it's also one of the biggest barriers to living an authentic life. What have you been afraid to do because of the fear of judgment from others? What would it look like if you released that fear and took action? The good news is that the more we face our fears, the less power they have over us. It's through stepping outside of our comfort zone that we grow. It's by making choices that reflect our true selves, even when it's uncomfortable, that we move closer to the person we're meant to be. Growth comes from being willing to be vulnerable, to take risks, and to fail along the way. These experiences help us learn more about ourselves and become more aligned with who we truly are. The journey is not about perfection. It's about progress. When was the last time you stepped out of your comfort zone? How did that experience help you learn more about yourself? The most powerful part of self-discovery is learning to trust yourself. Your instincts, your intuition, and your inner voice are the most reliable sources of guidance you have. But in order to trust them, you need to believe in yourself. You need to have the courage to take risks and to make mistakes, knowing that each step forward is a step towards becoming the truest version of yourself. What is one thing you've always wanted to do, but haven't yet because of fear or the expectations of others? How can you take a small step toward it today? Remember, self-discovery is not a destination you reach one day. It's a constant process of peeling back the layers of who you've been taught to be and rediscovering the person you truly are beneath it all. The more you stay open to this process, the more you'll learn, grow, and become the person you've always been meant to be. In the end, The journey to self-discovery is deeply personal and unique to each of us. It's okay to not have all the answers right now. The key is to keep moving forward, trusting your instincts and embracing the growth that comes with it. The journey will never be perfect, but it will be worth it. Remember, the only person who truly knows who you are and who you're meant to be is you. Don't let anyone else's opinions or expectations hold you back from being your true self. Be authentic, be unapologetic, and most importantly, be who you want to be, not who they want you to be. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more content that empowers you to live on your own terms. Stay true to yourself and see you in the next video.